In this module, we will cover compensation management and its related concepts, covering the concept itself, methods of job evaluation, various factors and trends, etc. Now, first of all, let's understand who makes these decisions regarding compensations. What is compensation, if you ask? Compensation refers to all financial and returns and tangible benefits that employees receive as a part of employment relationship. So anything in the form of cash or even non-tangible, that non-financial kind of things like holidays, like you can have health benefits. So something which is tangible, everything will get included into the definition of compensation. Compensation is paid by the employer to an employee for the services he or she renders. So, whatever name it is, whether it is wages, whether it is called salaries, it is basically the price paid for the services of labor. Compensation decisions are influenced from the top of the organization and it percolates down to the bottom. In publicly held organizations, stockholders and the board greatly influence pay, especially at the top of the organization. So typically, the top managements, along with the HR, they decide the salary or the compensation or the wages. First of all, it is dependent on the budget of the organization regarding the pay, that what is the kind of budget they will have when they are paying their employees. Then what is the form of pay to be used, whether it is going to be time-based sort of thing, salaries, or is it going to be incentivized? So whether it is flexible or variable or whether it is going to be fixed, all those things are determined by the top management along with the help of HR. And other pay policies, when we say policies, basically whether it is going to be things like weekly, whether it is going to be monthly, so on, decisions which are very strategic for the organization. First of all, that the rate of pay within the organization, whether it is to be above, below, or at the prevailing community rate. So that also becomes very important because when any salary base is being decided about any employee, so what is it that the scale would be, whether it is going to be above the market rate, below the rate, or the prevailing market rate. The ability of the pay program to gain employee acceptance while motivating employees to perform their best of their abilities. Now, this becomes very important. Why? Because, see, when we are trying to hire or when we are trying to employ somebody, this employee has to be willing enough to take that salary and work to its best of his intentions. So, this ability has to be there. If you pay something which is less than what he thinks or she thinks deserves, then again the person may not be motivated. Maybe due to some financial constraint, he or she might accept the job, but then he will not be motivated enough to put in his best of efforts. So that is exactly what this point says, that one has to take care that there is that sort of employee acceptance so that he is motivated enough to perform to his best of abilities. The pay level at which employees may be recruited and the pay differential and salary compression between new and more senior employees. So what is the pay differential? Basically, what is the difference of pay between the new and the existing employees? Salary compression again is the range. How far is the new employee or the junior employee and the senior employee being paid? So what is the range? How far are they compressed? What is the difference between that? So this sort of thing also has to be taken care of, because at times when new people are hired from the market and the existing people might get demotivated if they get to know that the new person has been hired somewhere uh, above their salary, what they are being paid. So it becomes an important aspect while deciding on such matters of salary. In the intervals at which the pay raises are to be granted and the extent to which merit or seniority will influence the raises. So this again has to be decided at a strategic level all across the organization, that if there are going to be any pay raises, what are the intervals, whether it is going to be annual, whether it is going to be 6 monthly, and to the extent which is merit or seniority. What becomes more important, merit or seniority? Wage and salary administration plans and programs should be responsive to the changing local and national conditions. Like if there are any taxations, if there is something related to overtime. These days, there is a lot of talk about this overtime for these even white collared people. So, again, if there is this bill passed, this act is implemented this year in 2020, The organization will have to take care regarding the overtime of the executives as well as the white collared people as well. So this is what responsive to the changing local and national conditions. Wage and salary plans should be sufficiently flexible, and of course, job evaluation must be done scientifically. Objectives of compensation planning. The objective or the purpose of doing this sort of planning is, first of all, ensuring equity. Now, if we recall the principles and the theories of motivation, there were theories which said that there should be a kind of, equity theory was there of motivation, which said, first of all, there is that internal equity, there is external equity, there is individual equity as well, meaning that if I think that whatever I deserve and I'm getting that, I'm happy with that sort of a salary or a compensation. But then the moment within the organization I found out the kind of work I am doing, and the other people are also doing similar work, but then they are getting paid more. So that is something which can decrease my motivation level, and I will not be putting in my best of efforts. I'll become maybe disengaged. So that sort of equity theory has to be taken care of, and in this kind of equity has to be ensured not just within the organization, also across the industry, which is outside the organization, meaning external equity. That if I find out that my organization at my level is paying me something, but a similar sort of organization outside or in the market is paying their employees at my level with my kind of experience, doing the similar kind of work much more than what I'm getting. So that again will make me somewhere, dissatisfied, and I'll become again demotivated, maybe not inclined putting my best efforts in the job. So one has to ensure equity across internal and external kind of domains. Attracting talent. If the company is ready to pay more or is willing to compensate the employees in a much better manner, of course, they will be able to attract better talent and retain talent. If an employee is getting what he or she thinks that he or she deserves, plus whatever extra efforts or any achievement on his part is being adequately rewarded, then it will also make sure that those performers are there for a longer period of time in the organization, provided the other things are conducive for the such kind of talent to be retained. New and desired behavior. For example, if I want my employees, if I am running an organization and I want my employees to achieve a certain target, now, for that particular thing, I might come out with a award system or a reward system, saying that those who meet the criteria, those who meet that kind of target within the stipulated time period, will be given some kind of reward, will be given some kind of incentive. So everybody, those who are interested to achieve that, will try their best. So for that, they might be required to work, overtime. That is not just 9 to 5, maybe beyond office hours. They might be required to travel. They might be required to even come on holidays. So that is something which I want my employees to do for achievement of that target. So new and desired behavior can be changed as per that compensation kind of planning. Control cost. Uh, with this compensation planning, I can control my costs as an employer because I know what is my plan to hire people, what is my plan to, let's say, promote people within the organization. So, in case that budgeting is done, I do a proper planning around that human resources, I can actually control my costs. Instead of maybe hiring new people, I can always come out with an incentive scheme that if the existing employee, are able to achieve a certain target, they get a share in it. So instead of hiring a new resource, I am just sharing some part of my increased turnover, which kind of gives that ability to the management to control the cost. So hiring a new employee is much costly affair than just kind of having a target and on the achievement of target giving incentives. So that becomes a much, I would say, economical way of managing this whole cost of compensation. Comply with the legal rules. Definitely, one has to see what the legalities around this particular system are. What is the law say of the land? The law of the land has to be abided by. So, if there is a certain benchmark regarding things like provident fund, regarding things like employee state insurance, ESIC, and all, so all those things have to be met as per the law. Then, ease of operation. Whenever we are making a compensation plan, we must ensure that while administering it, while executing that plan, there should be clarity, there should be some kind of ease of operation. Too much of a complex system can create problems because the person who is receiving the compensation might not be clear about it, and the person who is actually executing that plan, because it is all involving matters of money, so it becomes very delicate sort of thing. So there should be simplicity in the whole operation, that how that whole system will be executed. Let me know if you have any queries. Stay tuned for more content.